probably keep the. Okay. So management and strategic management. As your management is for 70 marks and strategic management is for 30 marks. Upload 70, we may still get about 20 to 30 marks for theory. So it's not completely a problem-based paper. And very high potential to give good marks. So scoring a 60 plus is not that difficult in this, and even a 90 plus has happened a few times in the past. Our own SIRC students. So, 2 is operations planning. Operations management is, say, it's about managing. Just a moment. Managing to do with operations. The last week's session we saw, say, map of what areas are covered in that. Say, desire to start a factory, the factory out, production, quality, transportation, assignment, everything, work allocation, quality improvement, engineering. There are so many things that are covered under your operations management. Planning is the first step. So you need to first plan your overall operations. It's not just production planning, the overall operations. Overall planning, suppose I'm going to business. Where I started? It's a plan exercise. Where I'm going to start it. What are the alternatives I have? And where to start my business is the planning exercise. Similarly, your second thing is your planning. How I'm going to design my factory. If it is, am I going to design it, or if it is, say, business operations floor, how am I going to design the business operations floor? So, the planning part. You have a lot of planning happen in your business operations. Capacity. So setting up a factory, what should be my capacity? How many units should I be able to produce every year? Planning, right? So depending on the expected demand, I need to decide, okay, I need to produce 5 lakh units per year or 5 units per year. All these are determined based on what market is like and how many units I'll be able to sell a month, in a day, in a year, and so on and so forth. So again, planning, capacity planning. And then planning. I need to know how many units of different raw material I need to have, and so forth. And then planning. Size of the batch. Suppose I'm in batch production, I need to determine what is the size of the batch I'm going to produce my goods in. So 10 lakh units per batch, or batch 5 units per batch. And if you have had a chance to look at some of the mega factories or made and build all these things in your channel or Discovery Science, Discovery Channel, and so on and so forth. You had a chance to look at in these programs, or you had a chance to look up some of these production processes in YouTube and had viewed it. So you would have got some idea about what I'm talking here, planning and all that. So start business, you need to have all these large scale planning happening. The periodic planning is all covered in your production planning and control chapter 4, where you talk about production of goods and products to be made, so on and so forth. About overall for the business operations. Chapter 2. So let's go on chapter. The first planning is forecasting. So what will happen in the So we don't have, say, rely on means of forecasting what's going to happen in future. Looking through the crystal ball or beat the kajal, all those may not work. You need to go study and find out what is going to be my future. So this is looking through and determining how is my future going to be. So that forecasting exercise. You need to have a to say, okay, I believe that tomorrow I'll be able to sell 1,000 units. How to say that? The reason why you are saying that, right? What happens if I don't know how I say that tomorrow I'm going to sell 1,000 units and I am selling only 50 units or 100 units? What happens to the rest of the production? Suppose perishable, you have to throw it away. Even if it's not perishable, if it's say it has a durable life, even then you need to store it somewhere. Now, storage cost of storage and how you keep storing it. All these problems come in. So with a level of accuracy. So forecasting, long, not 5 years, long term. So types of forecasts in that one is about ranges, different ranges. I do the forecast for 5-year forecast. What I do about uh, what I do in the next 5 years. It's a very long range. So am I going to introduce a new product? Market going to drastically change. I'm going to set up a new factory. So long range forecast. Just a moment. So you can see as required expenditure. Am I going to build a new plant or come up with a new machinery, import a machinery, and so on and so forth? And I'm going to plan the cash flows. So when you go and present your need, loan need, long-term needs to a bank, he's going to ask for all this information. Okay, tell me the next 5 years projection for how much you're going to sell. What is the cash going to generate? Will that cash be sufficient to repay my loan along with its interest? So these are over the long. So what is the long range bill requirement? Should I start building some capability among my suppliers? Say 5 years I'm going to grow by say 200% overall. I need to find the right suppliers. If they are not in the market, I need to build them. Think Maza drinks, Maza or mango drink. Anticipate that they're going to sell double the quantity next year. Can they let's sell double the quantity? Because the raw material is mangoes and you need to procure these mangoes. And mango is not a plant, it's a tree. You need to today wait for 7-8 years before even the first fruit comes out. So it's not that kind of a short-term planning. You need to plan for long range. Whereas I'm a mine company, probably if there are enough resources available, I can just go dig more, take more resources out of the ground, start using it. But natural resources like tree-based products, you have to plan ahead of time. So all these are very important. And then forecasts. So so what all you do to find and say short-term, mid-term budgets, like increasing capacity. I have a capacity I'm using only 60%. I want to increase it to 80%. That is a mid-range. So I can gradually increase it by procuring more raw material or capacity adjustments. I was about to say, I was saying about this. And then say define what I'm going to produce and I'm going to produce. If it's using seasonal products, we're going to produce what, and so on. So what is the dividend I need to pay? Dividend is an annual exercise, so I need to plan what customer going to, or the investor going to demand the next year, 2 years, and so on and so forth. Type is short-term forecast for less than a year, which is regular production, demand sales every day, every month sales, so that you can plan your production accordingly, your short-term manpower, skilled and skilled labor accordingly, and so on and so forth. So this is your different ranges: long-term, mid-term, short-term, so forecasting. Moving on, these methods of doing this forecast. So forecast, I said, is not about looking through the crystal ball or using beetle leaves to do it in a methodical way to be full. So what are all the different methods? One, do surveys. Probably some of you have done these surveys during your college project. Using an online survey today, there is a lot of online survey possible. I try to find out what is the demand going to be like. Is me selling good here? I am trying this out with my uh, large population base. I'm sending surveys. I'm getting results, and I'm doing some statistical method to extrapolate it to the overall population. See, when I'm doing a survey, I cannot do it to 135 crore people in the country. So I do it to say 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs sample, and extrapolate it to the rest of the population. So I can use it. Collective opinion. I take opinion from the senior executives of the company. By senior executive, I mean the directors, board of directors of the company, and at various levels. I take their views on what my sale is going to be next year. So they're supposed to be experts. They are running this company for a long time. They may give their opinion on why my sales is going to increase or decrease, and this is how much it's going to increase, decrease, and so on. Based on that, I am going to determine what's my overall sales going to be. That's the collective opinion. Sorry, this is the opinion. Collective opinion is from different people. Executive, the executive management or the senior management. Collective opinion from different levels of people. Probably your sales staff who are all reaching out to the customers, talking to them, and taking opinion from experts. Let me go to that. Collective opinion under this method, view of salesman, manager, sales manager, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to talk to all folks out here and then determine what's my sales is expected to be. So the sales people are all they are the ones who are there in the front line. They know how the customer feel of this, and they are also talking to their retailers. The sales representative is talking to retailers or directly to the customers. He's getting feedback. So give you an idea of what is the sales going to be, and then the executive opinion is what I talked about, and then the opinion of experts. So are people who are competing in that industry, say the say food and beverage expert. He knows the world is moving, what's going to be next, and so on and so forth. So say some trend in real estate sector I heard from an expert recently is that people are not going to buy apartments anymore, and people are to smaller, compact housing spaces with all services in and around the house. So large apartment complex with supermarkets, cinemas, everything close by. So people are not interested in traveling 15 kilometers, 20 kilometers every day these days. So they are trying to make it compact. Think of service industry today with the COVID-19 impact. People are working from home. Think of our relationship as faculty and students. We are now interacting over internet. This was not the case till few months back. So we were offering at the same venue, and lectures were happening and notes were taken down. But now it's totally different. So experts who are monitoring the industry gives you opinion as to how things are going to change in this industry. So what will be your demand like? Will go up, come down, and so on and so forth. And then market test. So we try to introduce some product look at how customers are reacting to that, do a short, small location study, and then try to extrapolate it to a larger market. So I can changes to my product, see how the customers are reacting in a particular segment, in a particular market, and then expand it. And then projection. Statistical way of doing it is using linear trends. So regression analysis, linear trends, relationship between factor y. In these sections, we normally use uh, time series. Time as one of the factors, and the corresponding sales as the rating factor y. So x and y, and use that to find out fitted trend. So your sales may be so this is, you have sales here, then here, then here, here, up and down. What you're trying to do is now fit a straight. This wasn't a line. Sorry about that. Trying to fit a straight line uh, on chart to over all the variances and come up with a straight line of best fit. So with that, put a line fit, and you determine that okay, next year my sales going to be somewhere because the trend is projecting that. Trend based projection or your linear trend. So which we are going to see now, direct method and indirect method. So the two methods which we'll see in a bit. And then just so we don't have problems in the book. Moving averages. Say today is again going back to the COVID cases. If you look at, they're showing the last 7-day trends, 3-day trends, and so on. Trying to calculate the averages and use that to determine what is my next year sales going to be. So last year average for current year, the next average for next year, or 3 average. So I have 10 years, 1, 2, and 3. I take the average to find out what is going to be my next month's average, and then 4th for next year, 5th for the next year. So calculating since on previous 4-5 averages. That's all. I'm not doing anything else. So your next method of doing it. So graphic method, that indirect, and then your moving averages. So I said moving averages you studied in your school, college, and it's not part of the syllabus here. Questions are not there in the book. So even otherwise, you can look at few questions, and it's not rocket science. It's very elementary, what you study in your 6th standard, 5th standard, that kind of subject. Okay, moving. So, what are all the steps in doing this? For direct method, indirect method, what are all the steps involved? So, trying to fit a straight line. So, this is given by y a b x. That's the equal straight line. So, okay, so this is the steps in forecasting. Is that before going to the formula? So, what are all the steps involved in forecasting? You know what you are going to forecast. So, sales, it is weather for the next few months, few days, or is it something? So you need to determine what you are going to forecast. That thing. Only then you can get into that direction. And so how long are you planning to forecast? Is it going to be for the next few months, few days, few weeks, or years? What are you trying to forecast here? Method. We saw a lot of methods previously. So is it going to be expert opinion or the trend? What is it I'm going to do? And then gather info from primary and secondary sources. So primary source, is your sources, where sales data, past so many years sales data, and so on. Secondary source is from outside. You want to know what is the total market for this product, what percentage you have. So you want to use these as well. Mining what units or how many units you are going to sell in the upcoming years, months, and so on. So those are secondary data. Primary data directly generated from myself, secondary data from outside. And then perform the forecast. So you use a method and then get the data and perform the forecast. So these are calculations for direct and indirect methods is what we were. So y trend value at a given time t is y equal to a plus bx. So this is the best fit. So this is the best fit. If I have to find out the sales at this point, I find out what is the x for this relevant point, and then okay, this is how much my sales is going to be at this point. So this is time, the direct method. So and time, year, months, whatever. So for the last 4-5 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I know what is the unit. So this is the 6th year for the sales going to be in this line. So I have created a line and I have extended it beyond 5 years into a straight line, and then I'm to calculate a value, project value. And if I want it for the next year, it further. Okay, further, and then the next year in time. So I so this seventh year. So 5th year, 7th year, and so on and so forth. So I'm trying to find out what is my sales be in the future. And handing on the screen, I'm trying to write on the screen. So if you, as in when I'm writing, it will be clear. Beyond that, it will be difficult even for me to understand. So use first to do the calculations and indirect method to do the calculations. We'll take different problems, do it. I hope it's clear. We open the chat for a while. Any questions? You can do calculations. Perfect. I cannot anyone to annotate. Please excuse me. Okay, there's a question, survey and market test. Survey is just asking questions, sending a questionnaire, asking them to fill out. Will you buy a product like this? Do you like this? Say, do you like round shape or oval shape, and so on and so forth. We're just asking questions to people. Marketing is you are really launching your product in a small area and then finding out what happens, and then you find out what we all demand for the entire country. Suppose they do only a small town or a small city and use it for the rest of the country. For forecasters, you are actually forecasting what is going to be my view, like the problem. And if you are eligible, then I may have to play the video YouTube on this topic, and then I can take questions from you over chat. Okay. X the time value, and rest data for say 2011, 12, 13, 15. I have for the last 5 years, and I need to forecast it for the next 2 years, 2016, 17. I need to find out what is the value going to be. So in data, I'm finding out what is the sales in the last 5 years. So this my sales has been say 207, 200, 205, and then 9. Suppose sales in the last 5 years. It's down, no clear trend here. So we need to a trend line, fit a trend line into this, and then move to the next step. So so X, Y, and sales. So of the this is not the complete formula what we have in the book. So you do a trend using actual year number and sales, it will be a complicated formula. So all we have here is 5 values: 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15. 5 consecutive numbers. Look at it, 5 consecutive numbers, 2011 to 5. Instead of using this, I'm just as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, it need not be 2011, so I'm taking 1. Say, suppose it's 2014 to be recent. So I have 5 years, 2015, 16, 17, 18, and 19. And I'm trying to find out what is the sales going to be for the next 20, 21, 22, and so on. So I have your data. In using the actual year number, I can substitute with 5 consecutive numbers. Now, to have studied this earlier, or not linear programming, linear trends earlier, you have a bigger formula. So, just a moment. Which is is equal to by sigma by divided by minus sigma the whole divided by n. So at time, y is the sales values, n is the number of years, and is equal to y minus into bar, average of y minus b into average of x. This is the original full-fledged formula used to do long time back. But some thought and simplified this whole thing. So now if you do a sigma x, it's 50, and then y you can always do, and then x square, all these you can do. In this always 5 consecutive numbers to represent this 5 consecutive years. We have 5-year data. We want to substitute it with 5 consecutive numbers. So let's start from -2. Next 1. Next 0. Next is 1. Next number is 2. Now 5 consecutive numbers. 2, 0, 1, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. Consecutive numbers. And x is not. So this is sigma x, sigma y. Sigma x, sigma x, because we started from -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. So to go to the formula, when x, this is 0. So this now the whole thing is cancel. 0 into anything divided by anything is 0. Similarly, here again you have a sigma x, so it's becoming 0. So the whole thing is cancelled out. So left out is only so with this portion. This is gone. Similarly, x bar, sum of x divided by number of items. X by n is x average. So sum of x divided by n, sum of x is 0. So this becomes 0. So the whole thing is erased out. So formula is only conditional formula. Right, for any value of x, only if sum of x is 0. Remember that. Only if sum of x is 0, you can apply this shortened version. You need to apply the whole. So remember, that's very important. So I made the sum of 0, so we are going to apply the shortened version. Okay. Innovations now. Formula that a by n. So we let's also x, because I'm going to do it quickly. This is y, and then x, x2. That's here. Power 2. So we have sum of y, sigma y, and x square. All we have to do is just substitute it in the formula. So a equal to sigma by n. Okay. To this is the number of items. So I'm just it. I can count B satisfied. My is calculated now. And then to sigma x square. So y is here divided by so b is so and b a and b is base value sales 206.6 and b or yearly impact. What is the impact of this sales? Here it is changing by a positive 1.4 sales or crores sales in lakhs. It is changing by 1.4. With this, I am use it in the formula x. So I have x, y is plus bx equation. I have a, b. Now E I want for 20 and suppose I determine the sales for the 3 years. Sorry, next 3 years 2021 and 22. Year 2019 represented by number 2. So I started here minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2 for the 5 years. So this is going to be y is equal to or x is equal to 3. Year year 20, 2021, 22. Year number is going to be 3, 4, 5 in the same series. We are a series, so in the same series, I'm getting the next 3 numbers. And there are 4, 2, 8. So is nothing but x for the next 3 years is going to be in x. That y x. So y equal to a plus b into 3, a plus b into 4, a plus b into 5. Answer. My final answer is my final answer. So to sales for the next 3 years, 2021 and 22, I've taken the number 4 and 5 for the subs and then used it. Down, I'll probably give you a few minutes. There is much here remaining in the formula around here. So there, the direct method. Okay. So I'll page here for a while. If you have, please go ahead and ask. If you have any questions, please ask. Otherwise, any problem quickly. A slight modification to this problem when we have more box on the screen. Here, num sure. Okay. So I think it was on screen. I see things completely now. Indirect follow, please wait. Tops, I'm going to be covering chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 7, maintenance. 1, 2 is your op current sector. There is your product design, process design, and for maintenance, economic maintenance. And then strategic management, I'm going to do chapter 8, introduction strategy, and then chapter 10 by Mr. Suresh Chari. I'll do just a bit. Give me a bit. This surely forward it. If you're on the group on the WhatsApp, I can surely share this WhatsApp group and PPT everything. There is much there, and just it as a prompter for myself and also some visual you. Surely forward it. And if you are not on that group, please do join. We created a group last week, Monday. I've shared the complete notes for OMSM and formula compilation. So what else? Back to the now calculation. Yeah. Just a moment. I'll link in a bit. Please wait. So year calculation. So 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. I have 5-year numbers. To check, I have 5 numbers. I can do it with actually 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19. Simplicity, I can either use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. The formula becomes a bit more complicated, right? So we saw that here. The complete formula is going to be like whole thing and find out what is my sales going to be for the next year. So that. So what we are trying to do is we have to make sigma x as sum of x. So once you make sum of x into 0, your formula becomes a lot more simpler. You can avoid the whole because sigma x max by n, sigma x by n, there's a sigma x here, and this sigma becomes 0. So you are just removing the whole right half and then using only the left half for the calculations. It becomes very simple. Or substitute these years with 5 substitute or sequential year numbers. So instead of starting, I'm starting with -2. I keep 1 to that. That's all. All I need is a series. The string +1 +1 +1. I'm increasing this starting number by 1 number every year sequence. So what is happening here? So -1 0 1 2, and again, just in don't understand what is happening. In of there are years, odd number. So odd number of years. Just start from for 5 years. Start from -2 -1 0 1 2. You ask you 5 years or 7 years. If 7-year problem, suppose you have 7 years. Suppose you have 7 years. Then what do you do? I still to get 2 is equal to 0. Again, numbers. If I start from -2, -1 0 1 2 3 4, the total is 7. So instead I'm starting from -3. So start from -3. -2 -1 0 1 2 3. You are 7 and consecutive numbers starting from -3 to +3. So the 7 is odd number of years. These questions are even number of years. Suppose I have even number of years. Even number, I cannot start with -3 or -2. There are 6 years. Now that all I need is a series of numbers. It's a time series. I need series of numbers. So what to do? Start -5, and then instead 1, I'm going to add 2 every time. I'm adding 2 numbers. Earlier, I was jumping 1 number at a time. Now jumping 2 numbers at a time. If you have even number of years, so 4 years, start from -3, then -1 3. If 3 years, start -5, -3, -1 1 3 5. So add all this up, you go again. All you need to do is get sequence, number sequence. The number sequence need not be consecutive numbers. also a series of numbers. In odd number of years, we took the consecutive numbers or add a progression of one number, -2 plus 1 minus 1, added more, 0, added one more, became 1, added one more. Here, instead of adding 1, we are just adding 2. So I minus the value for 2014, minus 3 value for 2015. I have done formula here on the top, 2. So 2 skip the series. Number of years, adding 2, or keep adding 1. Make sure the is 0. So in exam, somebody may be worried. So in exam, what they may ask? They may ask 4 years from, and if it's start in S3 and then 5 years, number of years. So we did it from -2 up 1. It means add 1. Add on to this number for the 2 years. And then if it is 6, start from 5, 2. Because this is even. This is odd. Again, 7 years. Again, odd number of years. So from -3. So 3 minus 2 minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So 7 becomes 0 and skip 1. All years adds 1. Each number of years add 2. So the quick your so we give them 1. It's not too complicated, but if you want, you can note this down. More thing to note, calculation and all that. If you have Excel, when you go to work, you don't need to know any of this. Just the values. I have 5 years, the charts here. If you look at it, 2 and 1, and then 210, 209, 205, and 200. These words we use. And the design and trend at a linear forecast. This is what we're doing now. This is the linear forecast line which we are doing. So we the thickness a bit. So this is a linear forecast. So 6th year, what it will be here. So around 110.8 something. Excellent. 108, 6th year. And the year we have about a bit more than 12. So a bit more than 12. So you project it. Have a scale, you can just keep a scale and then look at what is the number going to be. And then to know the calculation. So for line, display on the chart. So this is 4. That's constant. This 202.4 is based on that big formula. A different formula, so we got a base 206. Start with or they do the whole thing with the full formula which we saw some time back. So answer it with this formula, so they get a different answer, but this is important. Slope is the growth trend. Base doesn't matter. So there's again 1.4. We also got a 1a plus bx. So if you have, it's easy to do this whole thing. Okay, our direct method. I answered your questions for years. That's done. Now indirect method. Again, first check the formula. Bx is the trend line. To find b, you have these two equations. Solve these two equations, and then out what is my value to be. That is when you are not so this is not having this. So you don't have a time series method. You have there is a time. It's a number, year number, whatever. You're converting it into a series. Indirect when you don't have that. Population of city and the corresponding in okay, let's see. And then sales in say thousands. Okay. Data they are going to give you. Let's lay here for a reference. We're going to do using method 3 for 20 lakhs, 22 lakhs, 25 lakhs, and then 6 lakhs, 29 lakhs, and so on. And so I have 6 popular here. Levels of population. In population, what is my sales? 22 lakh population, what's my sales? 25 lakhs, 26 and 29 lakhs. I have population and these figures. It's going up, coming down. The value is not consistent. That's okay. So I use this to find sales if the population and then full complete question. They'll give you this series and then simple. Do the for what all you need x and y. See, remember mathematics, x is your independent which they just move on their own and dependent on that x. So variable x, which is one. So again, population can be a y elsewhere. So just somebody, can you please type your question? So independent variable, it's moving on its own. The sales which is based on x. So if you are populate so much, your sales is going to be so much. That's the y. How did I get this? This is my historic data. I'm not just cooking these numbers. These are historic data. From the last so many years and the corresponding sales when this population was at various levels. Now, again, could be a y in some other analysis. So don't worry about that. In this problem, we are going to use as a dependent variable, and the value is dependent on x, is dependent on population in this case. Find out on. Okay. Now population has sigma, so do sigma y. And is the number of items. How many items we have? 5. The observations. And a number we want to find out. And folks, you need, if you use your hands, I cannot do anything. Just send them and try to answer. Over hand. So number of observations. So in this case, sigma sigma x of x, that is 122, and x, because the sigma xy in the calculation, x in each line item, y, and then sigma x square, x power to x power 2 and that. A bit big, so it may take time, but let's do it. You here x your population, y your sales, you have an xy, x square is all needed in the equation. So sigma y, which sigma y 1, 2. So now doing the two equations, n 5 a plus sigma b 122 b. So this is my first equation. Second equation, you are always used to writing this equal on the right hand side. So you can also do that. 122b is equal to 1, 1, and then x times a. 122a is 026 sigma xy is 45,685. 45,685. I have two here. I'll align it. So point, because you have to take down a lot of numbers. And the chat can also type time. Okay, so I'm going to start a new company. What I do this calculation? I have to depend on secondary data or to do surveys. So I've been in the business for 4 years. I can use my historic data to project future. I have experience, and not when I've not been in the industry, then I have to use experts. I can buy expert opinion method. Or I can go for a survey, find out how people will react to my product. Opinion of the board, because they started this company, the executives of the company, the owners of the company will know how the demand is going to be. So do that. The market data, which is sales of different companies. Suppose there are some listed companies in this industry, publish all this quantitative information, value information. I can take data from there and try to use it for my case. There are various options you have, or use a mix of all this and some averages, and then use. So there are various ways you can use data. At this point now, the next steps are simple. You're at mathematics, you have to solve these two. Always is going to be smaller compared to B value, because in that way, 42A, you can multiply. So let's call this, say this equation 1. And let's say equation 2. Now, 2 and the value of loan 1 and 2. So if I come, I have years, so 5 alone I don't have. I'm doing now, I'm just multiplying the calculation. From 22 and 22 into again right hand side 1871 into 122. The equation is going to be 610 okay. What I've done is just used multiplication. For instance, 5 into 22, 610A, 1 is 122, 4, 40, 84B, 81 into 120. I'm multiplying the whole equation by 122. You would have done this equation in your space. The second equation, multiply. So 5, that's okay. And then 26 into 5. So 36 into 5. And then 4585 into 5. Okay. So now for you to note down to for you. So we are having two equations here. Two equations to find out A and B. So after first equation, multiply by 122. Function multiply by, always look at A. Use value of A, value B in front of A to do cross multiplication. It will be simpler because numbers are B is always bigger. Say a large number normally. So take value of A and then cross multiply. Once done this, if you add, subtract, subtract 610 minus 610 minus, because I'm subtracting 1884 minus 1530. This 246B minus 246B 0 and subtract 28262 minus 28425. 22842 minus 163 is equal to minus 163. You track these two values, what you get A 0, so no value for it. Minus 46B is equal to minus 163. So B equal to minus 9 gets cancelled. 3 divided by 2, 6. So the value which is B is equal to 63 divided by 246, 0.6626, 0.6626. Okay, so B. We have calculated B. Sir, first equation got this, found out B. B is a positive 0.6626, which means this is a slope. B is the slope. Gradual increase. For lakh increase in population, there is a 0.66 thousands is in my sales. Why? Because it's going up and down. If you look at it, 15T, 75, 83, 68, there is some increase, some decrease here and there. There is no constant trend here. So have now these now coordinate u in 1. If I live in EQ1, EQ1 is this. In that I substitute B 6626. So it's going 5A plus B2 into 6626 is equal to 21. Calc 122 6 8372. So A plus 0.8372 is equal to 71. Again, further 1883 to the other side, 1871 minus 80.872 0 582 1790.16. So equal to divided by the whole thing divided by 58. Value and value. Now A value and B value and is equal to A plus B X and pops is equal to A plus B X and population is given by. So population is 30 and 32. What is sales? So to be A 350 plus B 30. B 626 into 30. Similarly, case it's going to be into 32. X value is 32. I'm using it to 32. So sales is it's going to be 8 when the population is 30, 379 when the population is 32. Fine answer. For ease of saying, I've increased the size a bit. This is your indirect method. When you don't have, it's not a time series, but you have a x and y. X is an independent variable and y is the variable. Independent variable could be temperature outside in these, and it could be your sale of ice cream. So that's the case. Function insulation, we can have an independent variable called temperature and corresponding sales. So another option. So you have an independent variable x, and then say it could be anything. It need not be sales. It could be anything. But since we are doing business forecasting, I've used sales as in our example. And in your book, you have few sales examples. So x and y, and then I want to use this equation, indirect equation, without a and b. Bx is the linear trend we are trying to create, and then that we use this equation solve this. So y sigma is equal to na plus b sigma x. N is the number of observations, and then xy is equal to a sigma x plus b sigma x square. So when I write it down, this is the initial formula: n y times a plus to b sigma x 122 b is equal to sigma y, which is 1871. The sigma x square 326b is equal to sigma x y, sigma x 45,685. Certain numbers and it have been easier for it to solve, but in exams you may get something like these. So prepare, do 1 2 problems with size numbers. That will be reasonable. Equations. I prefer to always go with the value of a as the multiplier. So 1 is multiplied by 122. This is multiplied by the value second equation 122. And equation to this 5. So when I get value and then value in the first equation, I get a value. Since I have these, I'm substituting it in the y plus bx. They have X is 30, what should be my sales? And 42, what should be my sales? And the population is 30, should be around 378. And the population is 32, you should be doing around 379. Given. Correct? Method. I open the floor for some questions. All right. So, here is chat. Okay. WhatsApp. While taking the notes, I don't know whether I can do it quickly. Just find the link. You can take 2 decimal points, that's okay. Since I was doing it on an Excel, I was able to use 4 decimal points. But today I've pasted the group link. If you want, you can join using the link. And then this Excel and send it to the group. It's another option. Uh, so the group link in chat box. I just pasted it. It now thing. Address. It. In this chat, in the WebEx chat window, I've sent it there. Send me a message. You have a phone number. I'll include you in that group. Number by any chance, or should I give it? So you can, I can send you the link. I send just half a minute. Please take a look at it and later. So I have this Excel, send it to the group. Chart was direct method. We had some discussions on the whiteboard as well. So with the full form that we need to use and how it is getting shortened or simplified because of changing your sum of numbers to 0. This is your odd of years, and what happens if it's even number of years. Some rough workings on that odd numbers and even numbers. Even your exam, normally they'll give you 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, or 7 years. So if you start calculating the starting number, how many numbers you should skip for every line item. So let's start with -3. So with -3, your numbers will be -1, 1, and 3. These are numbers. And for of years, it's 5 years. Start from -2. It's going to be -2, 1, 0, 1, 2. These are the year numbers going to be. If 6 years, you start from -5, -3, -1, 1, and 5. In each number of years, there will not be a 0. So remember, don't get worried. is 3 minus 3 minus 2 minus 1 0 1 2 and 3. Calculations are there in the study material I've circulated, or the material circulated in the formula compilation section. And numbers in the chat window, I'll not be able to copy and send you a message. Use a message on my number. I just gave my phone number. Convenience, I'll write it down here. 9940417688. So you can message. I can add you to that group. I'm not getting any message from you, sir. I think there is some technical issue. Turn down the number on the screen. Send this number. I can add you to the WhatsApp class. So quickly, Diriel, we saw this direct method, indirect method, moving ranges. So important. You're trying to do your with this number. And people buy raw material, start production based on this number. So accuracy, you cannot be it, but you need to be reasonably accurate with your method. So how to find out whether I'm accurate or not? So suppose 4 or 5 years already, try to forecast the sale one of the last years using your method. Say business since 2011. So to 16, 6 data, I forecast the sales 2017 in this method, direct method. Is equal to 2017 actual numbers, I'm good. For 18, 19, 20 and when sorry. Please, I'll not be able to add your number from this chat. Send message. I left it here for you. Showing the screen once again. I'll repeat the number 9940041768. 00417668. Note down number. Send me a WhatsApp message. I'll quickly add you to the group or send link to add. It will be end for all of us. Okay. It should not be too complex. Bring in a lot of statistical functions and make it too complex that you are not able to repeat it every year, or doing it every year. It's a very precise. Should not be that. Keep it simple and accurate as possible. 80 to 95% accuracy is good. You will not be 100% accurate because it's a forecast. And the simplicity should be pretty simple to understand. That's very important because you are presenting it to your seniors. So that we saw. Economy should not take a lot of money to do this exercise. So done availability and steadily follow this year on year and use it for different business scenarios. And all at a reasonable cost. I'm spending 1 year to forecast the sales for 1 year. Doing it in 4 or 5 days, maximum 10 days, and then make changes based on feedback from the senior management, and then move on the budget. Not be too complicated. That's also very important. So these are some of the features of a good forecasting. This is what we saw. They start from -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and then calculation sigma xy and substitute in the calculate field and find out for 8, 9, and 10, what is the sales? And another 6 years. So 6 years they start from -3, -3, -1, 1, 3, 5, and sigma x equal to 0, and they get their sales for the next 5, 6 years. Again, your indirect method, where you have population of a town and the number of TV sets sold. So thousands of TVs, and the population, substituting it in equal to A sigma NA plus B sigma X. These two equations. And, right. So that's the indirect method we saw. Another similar population and sale of scooters, all the same. See, they keep telling you about the number of units sold because we are doing business forecasting. To save your key required forecast. Only based to do forecast. Once I know the sales, I can do my production forecasting, my staffing forecasting, and so forth. Okay. So on forecast. And before we give up next few minutes, I'll just run through this chapter, rest of the chapter, to give you some, so that if you find time, you can spend some time reading the book and come prepared for next class. So, forecasting, part of operations planning, and then planning. So, what is needed? What capacity, how much capacity, and when is needed, and so on. So forth. That's all we're going to see in the capacity planning. And then planning for various capacity, but what is the real capacity required? So because I need to find out what is the required capacity, the requirement. There are some examples, and then you will see what is bottleneck, process bottleneck, and then relocation planning on capacity planning, location, facility location. Where am I going to start my business? Given here, availability of power, market, so on and so forth. And then the layout. How is it going to be? What is the layout? Layout is how is it going to look? Where office, where is the canteen going to be? Where is the production floor going to be, and so on. And RP here after that. Layout. There's a lot of theory here. And planning. Again, this is how am I? Supposedly, weekly, quarterly demand is going up, coming down. I'm going to plan it. These we can use. We can change the workforce or number of work or inventory levels. I can give it as a subcontract, give something out. That is, I can do this adjustment to demand changes, change in demand. So that's what we are going to see. There is one here. And then MRP, material requirement planning, stock planning, M2, which is manufacturing resources planning. MRP1 is material requirements. MR2 is manufacturing resources, not just materials, raw materials, but the entire manufacturing resources, all human resource, and so on and so forth. And the evolution of that is we will discuss this in detail in the upcoming class. And then next quantity, EBQ, similar EOQ, by C or whatever, the root of 2A is by C, you would have read 2CO by I, and so on and so forth. It's just here. We'll come here. So the overview of the chapter, and then there are some more calculations or examples based on this facility location example. They have locations Patna, Ranchi, and Dhanbad. So they're planning to get their factories in one of these places depending on the cost, which places to be chosen. And they are EBQ based formulae, and then this is again your forecasting line of best fit, good fit forecast example. That's it on chapter 2. So much, not too complicated. So let me the same quest. You can note it down, send me a message. I'll either add you to a group or send you a link to add yourselves. Already here. I'll start adding it after the class. Okay, so looks like I've not shared my video in the beginning. Okay, so if you have questions, please send it over to me in the group or ready for the next class. At the start, I'll give you some time to ask your questions. Read this chapter 2, not a very complicated chapter. You can read it and then ask your questions. If you have any questions, you can ask. And there are a bunch of formalist topics in this chapter, which will for the next 1 or 2 and then to the next chapter. So all I have. You don't have any further questions? Okay. Any questions? I'll request the moderator to end the here in minutes. So let's take all the best. So there is one more question. Is there a question? Okay. Everyone, if you have any question, I'll be online for a minute. You can sit or you can start leaving. I'll do some meeting in a bit. number. Mr. Vas has asked for it. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.